So we are going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are having a wonderful morning. We are thrilled to be able to have you here for a very special webinar, The Power of Education, Meet the President of York College. My name is Elizabeth Aloni. I'm with Schneps Media. Schneps Media is the largest local media company in the New York metro area with over 80 newspapers, magazines, websites, webinars, podcasts, and events throughout Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Westchester, Long Island, the East End, Philadelphia, and now Palm Beach, Florida. Today, we are welcoming you and thrilled, really thrilled to have the president of York College and the interim executive director of enrollment management to discuss the power of education and York College. So let's get started. First, I'd like to welcome Dr. Bernicia Johnson-Eanes, who is the president of York College CUNY. Following an academic year, September 2019 to June 2020, as interim president of York College CUNY, Dr. Bernicia Johnson-Eanes was appointed permanent of the institution. This appointment marks Dr. Eanes' return to CUNY, having served for 6 years as vice president for student affairs at John Jay College. President Eanes immediately began assessing the needs of the college and devising a strategy to grow the college as One York, where everyone feels valued for their contribution to the academic enterprise. To this end, she embarked upon a listening tour of the college community, as well as meetings with external stakeholders whose support York has always depended on to survive and thrive. During the interim appointment at York, Dr. Eanes accomplished several long and short-term goals, including the completion of York's strategic plan, establishing 3 main pillars to support undergraduates who thrive and graduate, inclusive signature programs, and a vibrant community and campus spirit. As a hallmark of her tenure and beyond for the next 10 years, launched the One York Emergency Fund to support students during the COVID-19 pandemic and resultant shutdown, seeded with a $20,000 donation for the Alumni Association. The effort has now raised more than $50,000. President Eanes currently represents York College on the Greater Jamaica Development Corps board, was selected to represent the City University of New York Athletic Conference on the NCAA Division III President's Council. The council establishes and directs the general policy of the division while also establishing Division III's strategic plan. She's also a member of the Millennium Leadership Initiative, Executive Steering Committee, Council of State Representative, American Association of State Colleges and Universities, and co-chair of the JFKR Advisory Council Education Committee. Dr. Eanes, who's leading York with passion and shared governance in this new era, is away from her professional life, a wife, and the mother of 2 delightful school-aged children. She lives with her family locally and is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Queens Chapter, and Jack and Jill Inc. Welcome, Dr. Eanes. We're so thrilled to have you here with us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And now please welcome Nicholas Jones. Nicholas is the interim executive director of enrollment management. Nicholas brings over 16 years of higher education experience, all of which is as a member of York College. Throughout his career, Nicholas has honed his skills in higher education leadership, enrollment management, collaboration, and student advocacy. Nicholas holds a master's degree in public administration with a concentration in management and operations. Welcome, Nicholas.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, please. Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you both. So let me get started with asking you, Dr. Eanes, you're so passionate about education in York College. Can you tell us from your experience, how does higher education transform lives?
So thank you, Elizabeth, for the question. Thank you for having us here. So what I want to say is what we see ourselves in higher education as agents of transformation, because we know that it is a social mobility tool that is irreplaceable, quite honestly. You know, you go and get an education via educational experience, in classroom experience, internships, making new friends, study away, study abroad, all the things that can happen to you once you invest in higher education, it changes the game. And then that you take that back to your family. So it doesn't just transform your life, it transforms the lives of everybody else in the house, everybody else that you touch. You're going into a new place with new friends, new colleagues, new information, new skills, and a new career. And quite honestly, though, I think that there are many people who continue to challenge the validity, right, of a higher education and why, if it's not directly connected to a job. I think there's evidence over and over again. You can look around, right? You can look around and see evidence of it changing people's lives. It changed my family's life, because my parents seek to have an education. And you can see it in everywhere. And I think that particularly here in Jamaica, Queens, and in Queens in general, and in New York City, CUNY is an engine for social mobility. People come and get their education and it changes the game.
That's a really great point, because it's more than just about educating to a particular job, which obviously it does.
Yep.
And can, but it's also really, just as you said, all those different touch points that one encounters when they embark on a higher education experience.
For sure. Thank
you for that. And I know we'll talk more about that because you are so passionate about it, and you've been testament to it over and over again. But your college is also a very big part of the community, really an economic engine. Can you speak to the economic and social impact of your college?
So what I will say is it goes hand in hand. So a couple of things. We not only educate the future leaders of this area, what Nicholas will tell you later is a little bit about the demographic or the numbers of how many students that we put out into the immediate area that immediately start, working and leading. But I will be honest with you, there is the combination of us putting out leaders and putting them in places that are really, really important. So our York College physician assistants, our nurses, our aviation students, our teachers, that is so powerful for this community, right? Because those are people that are they're big sisters, aunts, cousins, right? They're the people, right, that everybody's living with, and they go right back into this community. Our students come from this community and they go right back to work here. Unlike a lot of other institutions like colleges and universities where they come from far and they go far. And that's a great model, and I've done that too. But in this situation, these students, and Nick will help me elaborate on this, these students come from right here and they go to work right here. And they're superstars right here. Just last night, our new councilwoman, Natasha Williams, was inaugurated in our atrium. Beautiful, wall-to-wall community event. Mayor, congressman, assembly people, tons of people from this community, half of which went to York College.
Nice.
Local electeds, right? And all these leaders, it just warms your heart. Young people dancing from the age of 5 to 18, proud of this wonderful woman who went to, help me, Nick, the name of the school, it's a local high school.
Benjamin Cardoza.
There we go. And so, it's just a perfect example. We had 200 people from our community last night in our atrium, notable electeds, celebrating the power of education in a way without even knowing it.
That really transforms lives, to be able to know your university is hosting such an experience of really insiders, right? Because as you said, these are people that were you. When you look at it as a student, these are people that were you. And it allows the students to be a part of the political process, a part of the growing economic engine locally, and they see it before their eyes. I mean, that's powerful. That's really powerful. It's much more powerful than any story we could tell about it, but to experience it like that and have it right there in your college is incredible.
Very much so. Yeah.
So I can see what you say about how, it's bringing people of the community and lifting them up and bringing them back into the community to continue lifting up all those around them. It's very, very exciting. Very exciting.
It's good stuff.
So Nick, I would love for you to share with me, because obviously you have a tremendous love for your college as well as tremendous expertise. If you could share with us what makes your college special.
And I always say this over and over again, it's the beauty of our student diversity. Our students represent 120 countries and speak over 80 different languages. And Queens is the most diverse county in the US, and your college is a microcosm of that. Our students bring different ideologies and perspectives, and intrinsically creates an environment where we're learning inside and outside of the classroom. As the president mentioned, 83% of our students come from Queens and Brooklyn. So they are from the community. So they come to your college, they get the skills, they get the tools, they get the knowledge, in which they're bringing it back out into their community and growing it. So we're very proud of our students. We have a small student body of 6,500 students, 50 undergraduate majors, 5 graduate majors, all at the cost of $7,000 a year. So if you look at that $7,000 a year for in-state students, that's a fraction of the cost of what it would take if you attended a private institution. With all of that said, I think it's a great return on investment on what you're getting at York. Faculty that are highly educated, have terminal degrees in their fields. Your college is part of this community. We want to make sure that as we grow as a college, our community grows as well.
That's really important. You know, there was also something else that you shared with me, Nick, that was so touching. And that you said, and I think it comes from, you know, what you're saying about the student body, you know, being 6,500 students. But you said it was a place where everyone knows your name. You know, it's a place where you can come on campus and feel a part, even in the large city that really Queens is, and New York City is, that feeling of community and how powerful that is when you can be one of the most diverse places on the planet, yet feel so connected and so part of nestled in part of a strong community. Can you share?
It's like cheers. Everybody knows your name. And, you know, we have a welcome center in which everybody congregates. We always talk to students, and the students that we help, they always bump into you and have side conversations, which is great. They'll tell you about their personal life or what's happening or how they're doing in class. It's a small knit community, but everybody is interconnected and we look out for one another. So that's the beauty of York. It's not only, you know, we come and we run to our office, but we're talking to people. That's why being on campus right now, I love it. I love being back. All that virtual stuff was great, but being back on the campus, seeing these students, engaging with them, it's meaningful, it's purposeful.
Wonderful. It really sounds incredible. But, you know, I think some people have concerns about higher education, you know, even as affordable as your college is and the return on investment. You know, people who are worried about, you know, look, I need to work. So, you know, how does your college prepare someone to be able to create a career so that they can support themselves and their family?
I would offer, I mean, I think Nick, you chime in too, but I think what we have to look at is, you know, having the support and the connection. So we are really working very hard on increasing the amount of internships, right? And experiences, undergraduate research experiences that help the students gain confidence around their ability to translate, right? And to transform between their college experience to the internship piece. So it depends on, so we do have some majors that, and Nick will help me with this, that the experiential learning is built in. So if you're a nursing student, if you're a PA student, if you're a social work student, there's certain majors that they have that built in, right? So they're already going to be out there in the field. They're going to see that their education sort of goes to work, right? And puts them in a place where they have mentors on the spot. The others, right? The other liberal arts majors, our hope is that we get them those internships and also those undergraduate research experiences. So they also are connected with people who are doing the work. It has been proven, hands down, that when college students are able to see people and be with people doing the work of their future, they are connected to their future, right? They're connected to mentors, they're connected to potential jobs. There could be just by virtue of the interaction, right? Because they're able to say, okay, I'm working with this person, they know me, they know a lot of other people who may be hiring. they know the work world, they know the hiring world right now, and then here we go. It is harder when you are not connected in that way. If you're not doing research with a professor, you haven't had an internship, you haven't had a part-time job, you haven't had any, it's harder. I mean, Nick could help me elaborate, but it's much more difficult for a recent college graduate who does not have those connections. If you haven't gone to Schneps Media for the summer, right? And done whatever Elizabeth asked you to do, then it's harder for you to walk up to the door. But if they know you, you know, if you're Tony, the guy that came and worked part-time from York College, that's different. And even if they don't have something for you, they can call somebody. Elizabeth will call somebody and say, I know Tony. Tony went to York College. He's great. He's looking for a job. Honestly, we really, really are looking for people to make those connections with our students. And with the number of students that we have, it's actually an attainable goal. I just came from a campus before I was here with 40,000 students. Totally different approach. It's like managing a small town, right? But we can wrap our arms around, right? And we can get the community to wrap their arms around, right? And post-COVID, we really do have to work harder at that because everybody wants to stay in their pajama pants. And I want everybody to get out of their pajama pants and go back to it. Because we have young people who really need us. Really need us. And if we don't aggressively figure out how to help them, then it will be hard.
Yeah, we have programs inherently tied in like aviation. We have partnerships with JFK, LaGuardia, and the Port Authority. For nursing, we have affiliations with the hospitals that are around our communities. So there's programs that already naturally have these ties within the community, and we're trying to expand our offerings with our career service office. I would say we understand, to go back to your original question, we understand that our students have responsibilities outside the classroom. You know, everybody's trying to pay their bills, and I personally believe higher education puts you on the right path for upward mobility. Just recently, I saw in my email that your college is ranked number 26 on Forbes magazine for economic mobility. So with that being said, and the way our learning modalities are shaped, we offer courses in the evening, in the weekend. We offer courses online, hybrid, and in person. We give all of these options to our students because we understand it's not straight coming to college and go home. There's a lot of responsibilities that our students deal with, and we want to support them 100%.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, it was two things that kind of came to me, what you were saying. You know, it's like one about the direct connections, the power of actually having mentors and developing relationships that help you get the job after college and after these internships. And number two is really helping you to be able to envision it by seeing it and being a part of it, and really what you can envision, you can then create, and helping you to be able to see that next step for you. So those are two really very important things that are physically and actually helping you to create a career. Mm-hmm. So what about if I'm someone who has a very specific interest? You know, I know that there's unique programs that many people may not even be aware of that are available at your college. Can you share with me a little bit about those programs? I know you mentioned aviation. I would love to hear a little bit about that because I know some people have some specific ideas.
So I'm gonna ask Nick to talk, and I think we have some people in the chat. They're asking about teacher prep. So if you could start with that one, Nick, do you mind talking about teacher education, and then you could talk about some other stuff, but I don't want us to miss, that's the second time the person asked the question.
No problem. So we have 50 majors leading to our bachelor's degree, in particular with teacher education. So we prepare you to teach not only students that are in elementary and middle school, but also high schools as well. STEM related teacher education programs in the humanities and liberal arts. So it's a wide scope of what we have to offer. And I'm definitely going to put my information in the chat. So if you want me to connect you with the faculty member that could give you much more comprehensive information, I would love to do that. Going back, our majors are organized in 3 different schools: the schools of arts and science, business and information system management, and health science and professional programs. So we have business, aviation management, STEM-related courses, history, philosophy, psychology. And perhaps, I know you mentioned specific interests. Outside of academics, if you want to participate in athletics or join one of our many different student clubs, perhaps even write for the campus newspaper. We have a lot of events on campus that's going to be happening more in person, but we have student affairs that we can connect you with. There is a lot that we offer at your college.
I did just share the website also in the chat. So when people can grab that, and I'll also share it tomorrow, we'll send out an email, it'll be there as well. So you can take a look at the vast program offerings that your college has. So thank you for that. What about, can you talk to a little bit more about the internships? I saw we had a question on that as well. Specifically a little bit more about how that works. I know you were saying, Dr. Eanes, about how some of the programs like social work have them baked into the program. So maybe a little bit about that, and then a little bit about the internship programs that perhaps are not as baked into the program.
There's certain programs that have their practical experience built in, right? So if you're an MSW student, if you're a BSW student, if you are a PA student, a nursing student, your practical experience is part of, you need to do it to graduate, right? But if you're not, you probably have to find an internship a different way, right? So we are trying to build up momentum to have more students connected to internships, study abroad, study away, right? Non-traditional spring break, any experience that will put them in a position where they're exposed, right? And I think that that's really, really important. We don't have as many as we would like, but we're definitely building our momentum on the ones that are outside of the majors.
And I know at Schneps Media, we love to work with your college to find interns. We've found some of our most incredible employees through internships like this. So Dr. Eanes, you're 100% right. It really does set students up for jobs.
So the senior learning, I will speak to this. This is in the chat. We are reinventing our continuing education. And I do think that older learners, right, is going to be a niche for us. And continuing education, I think, is going to give us an opportunity to open up some room for some certificate programs, right? And I tell people I won't be happy until I have a whole bunch of red shirts running around here in the summer, little red shirts, right? So get back to doing summer camp and things for the kids of the community. We have a new soccer stadium going up. Our public-private partnership with Queensboro FC is bringing a soccer stadium to our campus that will be shared use in the beginning, but eventually our use. But because we're going to have these new facilities, we're going to be able to have, I think, different opportunities for the young people of this community, and thus have jobs for our students, right, to work in these different areas, right? So it's just going to be like a cycle of success in that way, I think, because if you have summer programs for young people, you have to have young people working with them, right? So that's an ideal situation. And then you also have different facilities and different things going on. So I hope that we have our continuing education back up and running pretty soon.
Fantastic.
Also, I think we have a lot of assets in the community, students that are non-traditional, that, you know, they had to, right after turning 18, they had to go right to work, or they had certain situations that prevented them from, you know, going to college. And they're talented folks that probably want to come back, adult learners, or maybe considering changing a career. And we want to create a pathway for those students to, you know, come and, you know, upskill, get new skills, new talents. And, you know, we're here for that population of students. So I just wanted to just briefly mention that.
Thank you. Thank you. Both of you touched upon a little bit about COVID. I mean, obviously it's the big elephant in the room, right? How has COVID impacted learning at your college?
So let me say that no institution of higher learning has gone without deep loss and deep adjustment because of COVID. Everybody is trying to pivot and redefine themselves, right? Nick, keep an eye on that chat. It's busy. It's good stuff. And so
we'll save time at the end, so you don't have to worry.
Perfect.
We'll get it.
Perfect. So I think, you know, we have had a campus that has suffered a great deal of loss, but also, quite honestly, has seen how resilient they can be. They have gained muscles in virtual learning and virtual service that they would have never, ever known that they had, quite honestly. And so I'm really proud of the lessons learned. I am also very mindful of the mental health impact. We have to keep an eye out for that. We have a lot of students who suffered great depression in this time. Many of our students and our faculty and staff families have lost small businesses or had to adjust their day-to-day life. And so I think one of the things, the largest impacts is just being able to figure out how you redefine who you are for the community and figure out how you fashion the education in a way that takes us back to the new normal, right? But also satisfies what we want to deliver, right? And they hear me say it all the time. We're not an online university. CUNY is not an online university, but will we be different from when we started? Yes. Will we always deliver things differently because of COVID? Yes. We'll never do any of our business the same way because we learned we could do things differently, right? So it's in some ways it's this interesting, really devastating, horrible thing. And there's also this, look how strong you are. Look how amazing you are. Look how you just keep on coming. I mean, I walk into the campus now and I look, and I'm just so gratified to see the students, because I'm like, this is a story of resilience. This is a story of the comeback kid. Like, you're the comeback kid, right? Because you decided, I'm not going to give up, right? Some of these students started as freshmen, and this is their first time being in school in person if they decided to come here in person.
Wow.
So there's just a lot of, I think, lessons learned, a lot of great opportunities to be nimble and strong and acknowledge people's resilience. And then I think there's also, and I'm sure Nick deals with this more than I do, there's this space where doing the business of being a college is going to change. And in many of the meetings I'm sure that he attends and many of the people that work on this campus, the constant new thing is, what's your new game? How are you going to bring this work at the new level, right? COVID is like challenging people to deliver their work in a different way. And I think it is at every level, absolutely every level. I think sometimes people say, oh, it only impacted the faculty. No, it only impacted like the facilities people, the public safety people, everybody has to do their job differently. And that's profound.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that.
Of course.
One of the things you talk about is, York being known for its accessibility. And you mentioned that a little bit, talking about older learners. Can you share a little bit about the accessibility of your college?
Do you mind elaborating?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
Well, when I hear the word accessibility, I think of students with disabilities. If they have a physical, learning, psychological, perhaps visually impaired, and we take that very seriously at your college. We have a Center of Student Disabilities in which we try to, make sure that we create equity across the board. So we have staff that, offer workshops on how to use the accommodations if it's technology based. We give priority registration to our students, short testing accommodations, and also, making sure that we connect those students with organizations for employment opportunities. So that's my interpretation of accessibility. But if I'm off, please let me know.
No, that's wonderful. Also, I know that we talk a little bit about accessibility from language perspective, high school students. Can you share a little bit about that too?
Sure. So
connection to high schools. I know that's also another special piece.
Yeah, we're always, pre-pandemic, we were going into the high schools. And again, I spoke about Queens and how diverse it is, but we were trying to make those connections. We may have connected with students where college, they're first generation students. They didn't really have much of an experience or people telling them what to expect when they enter higher education school. So with that, we're always trying to connect with folks to ensure that access is there. They always have access to us as staff in order for us to make sure that we help them, strive towards their dreams and aspirations.
Elizabeth, let me add just a little bit to that. What I will say is, we have all the traditional, like, programs that outreach to the high schools, and we have a few CUNY-based ones. But what I will say is we also have been making, with Nick's office efforts and others, to have really solid relationships with all the high school counselors that have the highest number of students that come to us. We've also been trying to develop maybe something like this, a webinar or digital interaction with high school personnel that could help us contact the students. So we're trying to take that to another level and make it really relational, so people feel like they have somebody they can call here at the college and say to Nick, I have 10 students here who are interested in York. Will you come to do a workshop for me? Or could you come and talk at lunchtime? So those kinds of things, I think, are opportunities yet to be sort of evolved. We're still working on some of that.
That's fantastic, to that connection with the high schoolers, for sure. So I always like to, when I have special guests like the two of you, I love to be able to get a behind the scenes really idea about, what would be your advice to a family member or a close friend of yours who is considering York College?
My advice would be, first and foremost, to make sure you get all the answers to the questions you need answered, right? Whether it's be about a major, about the logistics of applying, get those questions answered. If they're not obvious on the website, right? Find out how you get in touch with somebody, or come up to the campus and go to the Welcome Center. That's why it's there, right? Come right in the front door and turn to your left, and somebody's going to help you, right? That's the reason why we have developed our new Welcome One Stop Center. And so I think that's the number one. Number two, I would say prepare yourself to invest in being at York. But I would say this to any college student. I've been doing this over 25 years, so my spiel is the same. Prepare yourself to dig in, right? Because it's fine to enroll, but if you don't make relationship, join a club, do undergraduate research, do an internship, work in somebody's office, you're still very distant from the campus. You have to dig in, right? Particularly for commuter students. We do not have residence halls here. They do not live here, right? So that's a very different thing. So when that's the case, then you have to figure out, like, what's my thing, right? Is music my thing? Is the theater my thing? Is working in Nick's office? I like doing administrative work. I'm gonna be, Nick's workspace. Is that my thing? Figure out your thing and then dig in. And those two things combined, you're gonna be fine. You're going to be fine. If you do the logistics, the day-to-day, applying, getting in, enrolling, the busy work, right? The stuff, you do that, then you come and you decide that you're going to really throw yourself into being in college. And I think sometimes people are just a little timid. They have a hard time, and so I always get in the pool and swim. You got to really go for it, because you're only going to get out of it what you put in it. And
Great
often
advice.
people look back and they say, oh, I wish I would have done. We all been there. I wish I would have done. And I want to wake my students up right at the beginning, so they don't have to say, I wish I would have done. We don't want to say that. Get in. What's the worst that's going to happen? I joined the knitting club. I didn't like knitting. Okay, go join a different club. It's fine. So I just have to kind of be bold with it. And I think our most successful graduates are those who were bold and able to engage, because they come away from it with so much. They have new mentors, they have their skills, they have their education, they have their experience, and they have friends because they were invested, right? And that you could walk away and be a very wealthy person at heart from the investment you make. You really can.
Advice. Great advice. Great advice. Nick, would you like to share anything that you would say?
Yeah. I mean, first off, that was really great to hear. And it's really just jumping in. I personally know the higher level education that you could achieve leads to higher paying jobs, but it also reduces your chance of being unemployed. Thinking about my family situation, my friends, some of us have college degrees, some of us doesn't. I think it helps you control the questions of, where do I want to work? What salaries will I accept? What schedule will I choose to work? What do I want to contribute to society? I think college helps you discover who you are as a person. It kind of gets you out of maybe your narrow mindset because you're introduced to so many ways of doing something. It's not just one approach. I think college helps you with the critical thinking piece, but also the social piece, learning how to present and talk and connect, make friends. That's the value of college. So that's why I think, leading off with the power of education, that's really it. That's really the power of education.
That's great. Great advice. Thank you so much. So, to conclude, and I want to get to some of the questions that we have in the chat because we have a lot of great questions, but what would be someone's next step if they say, wow, this sounds exciting. I'm ready to jump in. I'm ready to ask questions. What would be their next step?
I would highly recommend that they connect with an admissions counselor who just take the time and meet with them and discuss their options based on, I see a lot of questions about financial aid and applying to the school. That would probably be the most appropriate step. Connect with our admissions team. You can find their information on our website, york.cuny.edu/admissions. They offer virtual hours and they have an admissions email as well. So don't hesitate. They're very friendly and accommodating, and they want to help you out.
Terrific. And I just shared that link right there in the chat. Thank you so much. Dr. Eanes, did you want to add something?
The only other thing I would say is definitely, use social media. A lot of the young people really like to watch things on social media. We have a healthy Twitter account. If you haven't checked it out, there's updates on things going on campus, just so you get a flavor of York. Definitely engage on social media, right? In all the places, Instagram, Twitter, right? Facebook, all that. And because a lot of times, the students will say, well, if you want to hide something from young people, put it in an email. So I don't want to say, don't rely on me to email you, because I won't do that anymore. People have said they don't read them. So, okay, so look at the website and then check out social media. And then the only other thing I would say is definitely don't hesitate. If you see an event, we are a public institution. If you see something, most everything we do is open to the public, honestly. And I am always just intrigued when I have a future student or a friend of York to show up to something that we're having. It just warms my heart, right? Because we're of the community. So if you see something going on, there's pretty much nothing that we have ever that's not open to the public. But if there's something that sparks your interest, definitely come and enjoy with us.
Wonderful advice. Really get the sense of the community for yourself right then and there. Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been so incredibly informative and valuable. I'd like to jump over to some of the wonderful questions we have here from our attendees. Mm-hmm. Kim wanted to know, do you offer languages for beginners, like Spanish, for example?
Yes, we do. We have a foreign language department. So if it's Spanish or French, Italian, I may be missing some off the top of my head, but we do offer languages at York.
Fantastic. That's great to know. So another question we have is about, do you offer financial aid, and how would one find out more about it?
Sure. So what I would recommend is once you decide if you want to attend your college, you'll complete the FAFSA application. We have staff that would help you do that, but it's a free application that you will complete. You would fill out all the pertinent information, and that's how you would apply for Pell, which is a federal grant. York's tuition is roughly $7,000 a year for in-state. So with the Pell and TAP is state funding. That pretty much almost covers the entire tuition for a lot of the folks. But definitely, again, I'll put the financial aid information in the chat and connect with those good folks.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. I want to share that Magali said, one of my former students just completed the OT program at York College in December of 2021. Yay. We're so proud of her. So are we. That's wonderful. So that's always wonderful to hear. Ken wanted to know, do you have a robust community engagement program in terms of supporting the mission and objectives of the college? We could talk a little bit about that, but we'd love to hear more.
Yeah, I talked about it, but we are of Queens. We have our community relations and government relations is I think a historic point of pride for York. So currently, I don't know that I feel like we have as many opportunities for our students to do community service, but we do have a very active and robust situation with our local community, where everybody, like everybody in the world, is connected to York in one way or another, because our alum are the heart blood of this community, right? And so, along with our local electeds and all of the opportunities we have here for, we have had early voting and voting here at York for years. We serve the community that way. We had one of the largest vaccine sites in the city for a very long time. We have had COVID testing here almost the entire time. I share with you, we have inaugurations of local electeds. We have all kinds of speaking arrangements, and we have all kinds of things going on where our students work in local electeds offices, right? We have in almost every local elected office, and also in other places in community. So we're very, very active in that way. I don't know about the formal community service piece, right? So I think that there's some work to be done there. But we do also have a very vibrant food pantry for our students here on campus. And that also has put us in a position to be in community with some other people in the community.
Fantastic. And Nick did just share some links in the chat. One is about the foreign languages at York and information about financial aid for York College. So you can access those. I will share those as well in the email that I hope you open, but we'll have those links there for you as well. We'll get that out to you tomorrow. Joan actually is a business owner and wants to know how she can find out about York College students for internships. So look at that already, hearing about the incredible program at York College. We have employers who are interested. So what would you recommend for an employer who's interested in connecting with your students?
That'd be fantastic. I think if Nick has put his information in the chat, it'd be fine for them to contact Nick directly. And if not, for them to reach out to the Vice President Student Affairs office. And we will definitely make sure they get connected.
Fantastic. That's perfect. And Nick just shared his email. Thank you for that, Nick. And we'll share that as well in tomorrow's email too. So just to wrap up, I want to respect your time. Honestly, we could be sitting here all day asking questions. This is so inspiring. But just to leave everyone with a final thought, if Nick, you could share quickly a final thought, and then I'd love to wrap it up with Dr. Ian's final thought on, encouraging people in the higher education. I think you've said so many wonderful things, but just as a end note, Nick, would you like to share something?
I think it's all about introspection. It's trying to find out who you are and what you're trying to achieve in life. And I think I've kind of shared what I believe higher education does change life, not only for you, but for your family and friends. It creates a whole different way to look at the world and how you contribute to it. And no matter if you're 18 years old or you're 40-year-old, it's never too late. It's never too late to come back into school and to, get a bachelor's degree. So your college, we're here for the community. We're here to help people achieve their dreams.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Dr. Ian, some final thoughts?
So let me first say thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you everybody who decided to attend today. We are really grateful. We have wonderful things going on here at the college, and I hope that people will put themselves in the position to learn more, right? To explore more about York College, and also to let us know what they think we should be doing that we're not doing. I always think it's very powerful to hear from the community around things that maybe we don't know, right? That we should be paying attention to. And also just let me emphasize that we are very appreciative to partners like Schneps Media, because without these kind of partners, we would not be able to get the word out there about what we're doing. And we are really, really excited about what's going on. New soccer stadium, renovated performing arts center, beautiful, bright, and clean campus, professional faculty and staff. They're dedicated. It just doesn't get any better. And so I just really appreciate the opportunity to talk to the public and for everybody on the webinar. And thank you, Elizabeth, for everything. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And not to say at the slightest, but a brilliant and passionate leader in President Eames. We are so grateful that you are here with us today. And just seeing your energy, I mean, how could one not be excited to the possibilities of being at your college? So I thank you. I thank Nick for joining us. I want to thank also all of our attendees for being here with us. We appreciate it. We look forward to sending you an email with more information. This was your first step coming here. Now take the next step, begin the change in your life, reach out, find out more, and just reach for the stars. You deserve it. So I wish you all a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.